Today we'll discuss about input and output. How to print output of your program and how to take input from the user. Okay, input function means functionalities. So how to take user input and how to print something output or whatever you want in your program. Okay, so you can able to use two inbuilt functions, right? One is for to print the output of your program and another is for the taking input from the user. Okay, so the first one is a print function, so which is a inbuilt function. Print is a inbuilt function which is used to print whatever the values you want to print onto the screen, or whatever you want to print the output from your program, which is print function. Okay, and the second one is a input. So this is related to output, right? So to print output of your program, we will use print function. To take input from the user, we'll be using input function. So generally, we will work on the data. We will process the data. By writing the program, we will process the data. So who will provide the data? User will provide the data. So we need to take the input and we need to process that output, and we need to process that input and we need to print the output. We need to process the data which is given by the user. So how to take input from the user or data from the user? By using input function. So by using these two functions, we can able to print the output and we can able to take the input from the user. So for example, simply for addition of two numbers, so we can able to do this program. We can able to write this program. So just by assigning a static value, for example, so 10 is a fixed number, right? We are assigning it to A, and 20 is a fixed number, we are assigning it to B. So in the last class we have discussed how to assign values to the variables, okay, by using equal operator, right? So this is the operator, assignment operator. So by using this assignment operator, we can able to assign a data to a variable. So right hand side data will be there, left hand side variable will be there. In the previous class we have discussed that also how to create a variable name in the Python by following the identifier rules. Okay, so then simply we have assigned two values to two variables. Okay, in single line also we can able to do that. So in the previous class we have discussed how to assign multiple values to multiple variables. You can able to accomplish this same task like this: a comma b equal to 10 comma 20. So this is the another way to assign values to variables. Right hand side, how many values are there? 2. Left hand side, how many variables should be there? 2. So now 10 will be assigned to A, 20 will be assigned to B. So then after that our task is to find the addition of these two numbers and print on the screen. So directly can able to print, but we are using a third variable here. So I am storing the result A plus B. So what is A plus B? It is an expression which involves two variables and one operator. So what is the operator here? Addition, right? So and then, so for this, after this, just print C. Simply you can able to print C, right? So now in this way we can able to assign. In this way also we can able to assign. So multiple values to multiple variables. Right hand side of the equal sign, values will be there. Left hand side of the equation, variables will be there. So variable is an identifier, right? What is use of identifier? To identify something. So we are human beings. To identify us, a name is there, right? Every person is having some name. With that particular name, we can identify persons. Here in the programming, so we wanted to store some data, right? We will process the data. Data like store just some memory. We will store that data. But to identify that data, to use that data in the program, we require a name for it, right? So that name is nothing but a identifier. So identifier is nothing but a name which is given for a data, or which is given for a user defined function, which is given for a class, right, and which is given for an object also, okay, which is a name. How to create identifiers? There are set of rules, right? Already we have discussed it. We will discuss once again. So after this, okay, and so this is the variable. Okay, variable is the containers, data containers. Okay. So now a holds which value? 10. So this is the first value, this is the first variable. So this is the second value and this is the second variable. Now this value is going to get assigned to this variable. This value is going to get assigned to this variable. It means that in A we have stored 10, in B we have stored 20, right? This data is being stored in this variables. Whenever this line will get execute whenever your program is getting executed line by line, 10 will be stored in A, 20 will be stored in B. After that, what we are doing, we have written one statement, that is C. This is the another variable. C is the one more variable. What you are storing in C? Addition, A plus B. So whenever you use A, so which data will appear here? 10. Whenever you use B, which data will appear here? 20, right? So in between these two, what is their addition, right? So your expression will get evaluated. Now the result of this expression is 30, right? So now 30 will be assigned to which variable? C. After that, what you are doing? Print C. So to print output of your program, we will be using print function, right? Which is output function. Now the output of this program is 30 will be printed on the console. Okay. Simply we are printing only data. I want to print some information. Along with 30, I want to print some information. So how we can use this print function along with the text? Okay, now you see same thing. So assign two values to two variables. Now, so without using third variable also we can able to print the result. So but in this case I will use print. I wanted to print some information to the user. So what is that information? Addition of comma A and B is A plus single quota double. See, so have we defined, see in this particular line 20 is assigned to A, 30 is assigned to B, right? Which means that the variable A is already created. And in line lo variable A is created, variable B is also created. This means that in the memory these two names are existed. In names anevi exist ayunnai, right? But in the print statement, what you are printing? You are printing this particular sentence, right? So addition of. So how an interpreter can able to understand what is this data? Addition of. We know this is a English sentence, right? So but how a compiler, not a compiler, here we will use interpreter. How interpreter can able to understand what is the type of this data? So it cannot understand unless and until you provide the correct type. Okay, so here data types is the concept in the Python. So which data types are supported by the Python? Okay, so data type supports means Python supports various data types. Okay, so for example, we have taken in this particular line A equal to 20. 20 will get assigned to A. If you print A, 20 will get prints on the screen. For example, if you print C, in this simple 2-line or 3-line program, is C is created? Is C is created? Only we have created A and we are printing A. C is not yet created. Here you will get error. What is the error? C is not defined. It is not defined. C అనేది define చేయలేదు మనం. C is not defined. So defined in the sense which data is stored in that particular variable, right? Which data is of type that interpreter can understand. Now interpreter can understand this A because in A which data is stored? Integer data, right? We know integers, right? So 0 to infinity, and we say negative numbers also. All whole numbers are integers, right? So now interpreter by defaultly without what we can say providing the data type declaration, interpreter can able to understand the 20 as an integer. If we consider the C language, we need to define it first. So in C, if you want to store a data in the variable, in C language, if you want to store a data in the variable, first of all, you need to declare the data type which you are going to store in the variable. Int a, it means that in variable a, I am going to store integer value or integer data. After that, you can able to store an integer number. After this, for example, I have declared the data type of this variable a as int, and you try to assign a floating point number. 20.5 is a floating point number. Here you will get error. But in Python, if you assign 20, the data type of a is integer. If you assign a equal to 20.5, the data type of a will become floating point. Like that, dynamically it will decides the type of the data, right? So which is we will call it as a dynamically typed programming language, right? So at runtime, it will decides the data type of the variable. No need to decide or no need to provide explicit declaration. Explicit గా declaration ఇవ్వాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు ప్రోగ్రామ్ లో, which is called as explicit declaration. ముందే డిక్లేర్ చేయాలి ఏ వేరియబుల్ లో ఏ అనే నేమ్ తో ఏ డేటాని స్టోర్ చేస్తున్నాము. ఇంటీజర్ ఆ కాంప్లెక్స్ నెంబర్ లేకపోతే ఫ్లోటింగ్ పాయింట్ లేకపోతే ఒక అర్రేనా, రైట్? యు నీడ్ టు స్పెసిఫై. బట్ depending upon the data what you are storing in that variable, the data type of it will be decided under runtime. Program run అయ్యేటప్పుడు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయ్యేటప్పుడు data types అనేవి డిఫైన్ అయిపోతాయి. We are not defining explicitly, so only Python will take care of it, which is called as dynamically typed programming language. And see here, so for example, if you remove the quotes here, so for example, before that I want to print my name on the screen. I want to print my name on the screen, for example. So name ni print cheyali ante just by using print function we can able to print anything, right? So for example, I want to print some name like this. So what is name? Generally group of characters, right? So in a text, in a particular word, what will be there? Characters, right? So group of characters, right? A text is a group of characters. But so when you provide a data inside of the print function like this, your interpreter cannot understand which type of data you are going to print, whether it is an integer or whether it is a string. So generally a text, the data type of text will consider as a string data type. Okay, so string is nothing but group of characters. How to create strings in Python? So if you wanted to use text in Python, compulsory that text should be enclosed in the quotations, right? So creation of string. So strings netla create chesamante by using quotes, quotations. By using quotes, you can use single quotes, you can use double quotes, you can use triple quotes also. Single quote 3 times or double quote 3 times. So in between these quotes, whatever you write, that is considered as a text group of characters. Okay. So then this is called as a string data type. Now your interpreter can able to identify this particular text as a string. Without using quotations, you cannot able to use the text in Python. Okay, interpreter cannot recognize that as a string. Only strings can be printable on the screen, right? So the data which is in the form of a text, for example, compulsory that text should be in the form of a string. Then only your Python interpreter or this particular print function can able to print that. Here you cannot able to print this name directly without using quotes, because interpreter cannot recognize this data as a string data, right? So that's why if you keep quotes, start single quote and end single quote. Now this is defined data. Now this data is defined. Prior to that, without using quotes, this data is not defined, right? So means interpreter cannot recognize this as a string. Now if you keep quotes, now this data becomes defined data. Okay, so what is the type of the data? Now it is a string data. Okay, is there any need to define this 20? No, because the 20 is what? Directly it is a integer, right? So interpreter can able to recognize this 20 as an integer without using quotes. Only there is a need to use quotes for the text to define the text as a strings. Only strings can be printable on the screen by the print function, not the raw text without using quotes. Okay, that's why if you observe the statement what we have written to print the addition of two values and the result. So this is defined, right? This text is defined from here to here. You can use single quotes, you can use double quotes. We will go with the double quotes for each and every text which is not defined. Okay, so addition space of, so which is a text, right? So this text must and should be enclosed in the quotes to define it, right, in the way of string, right? So now this text is defined. So comma, so whenever you use comma, you have to we have to understand that we can able to print multiple values in the print function. Okay, we can able to print multiple statements or multiple values with the single print statement by separating the two values by comma. So here this string is separated by comma with the another value which is a. So for a, why we are not using quotes? Because a is already defined. So whenever you store 20 in the a, which data is stored in the a? Integer. So by defaultly interpreter can able to recognize the data 20 as an integer data, and the data type of a will become integer. In the same way, what is the data type of b? Or the data which is stored in the integer. Okay, so these two variables are defined. For defined data, no need to use the quotes. So that's why a is not kept in the quotes, right? And after that, this is one value. So I wanted to print the information to the user that addition of a and b is, and then result. Okay, so you need to use and. What is and? It is a text, right? So then how to print text from the print statement? By using quotes, right? So here use double quotes, right? So and then separated by comma, I want to print one value, next value b. So no need to use the quotes because already b is defined. After that comma, is not defined, it is a text. Again keep it in the quotes. After that a plus b. So is there any need to keep this a plus b in the quotes? No, because what is a plus b? It is a expression, right? Arithmetical expression, right? So plus is the arithmetic operator. What a holds? Integer. What b holds? Integer. So two integers can be added by using plus, arithmetic operator. So over which data you are using this plus? Over integers data. So if you add two integers, the result will be integer only, right? So this expression will get evaluates. This expression will get evaluates and the result will get prints on the screen. Okay, so if you execute this simple program, the output, if you observe the output, in the output you can able to see this addition of ekkadaithe, means wherever you are using comma, by defaultly this print function will provide space. Comma అయితే ఎక్కడ ఉంటుంది అక్కడ space వస్తుంది by default గా. So space in this particular variable, which data will be taken? The data which is stored in the a, the data will be taken in the print function. So in a, which data is stored? 20. So addition of 20 and space 30, again space is, again space. What is the result? 50. So this will be printed on the screen. So whenever there is a comma separated by values, you will get a space. So here this is a space, here also you will get space, here also you will get space, here and here. So by default it will provide space whenever you are going to print multiple values on the screen. Okay. So then for example I have three values like a comma b comma c comma, four values to take 40 comma 60 comma 80 comma 90. We can able to assign multiple values to multiple variables, but what is the condition? Number of values and the number of variables should be same, then only you can able to assign in a proper way, or Python can able to unzip the values. Okay, so because 40 will be assigned to A, 60 will be assigned to B, 80 will be assigned to C, 90 will be assigned to D. So I want to print all the values which I have stored in the variables. Then simply print, I can use A comma B comma C comma D, right? So whenever this statement, whenever this print function is executed by the interpreter, what is A? First value. What is B? Second value. These two are separated by comma. So we are printing multiple values onto the screen. When you execute this, the output will be 40 space, 60 space, 80 space, 90. Okay. Right. But instead of space, I want to get comma. I want to keep comma in between two values or in between two variables, right? So and then how to do that? So there is a one special we can call it as operator, which is separator. Okay, so how to use a set from the print statement, right? With the specified separator. So by defaultly, when you are going to print multiple values, what is the default separator? Space. Space is the default separator. But we can able to specify a particular separator which we wanted to separate values. Okay. How we can able to do that? So in the same way, you can take this. Now print A comma B comma C comma D. Here we provide comma sep equal to, sep means separator. So what should be the separator in between two values? Okay. So sep equal to, you need to specify comma like this. If you specify the separator as a comma, then if you execute this statement, the output now it will be 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40, because we have used our interested separator, right? You can able to specify, right, by using set. So which is a default parameter we can able to use from the print statement. Sub equal to, in the invited course we have used comma separator. So what is the default separator? Space, right? So default you can able to separate multiple values, right, with the space. Default print will use space as the default separator. But if you want to use a different separator, you can able to specify that particular value with this particular operator, which is set. Okay, and then so I want to use like hyphen dash, right? So like I need to get, or I wanted to print like this. In between two values, I need to get hyphen. So how we can able to achieve this? In the place of comma, just you provide dash or hyphen there. To get this type of output, you can able to use print function like this. Sep equal to, in the invited quotes, use dash. The output will appear like this. Okay, you can able to separate multiple values which are going to print on the screen by a specified separator. That separator needs to be assigned to this particular operator, right? So set equal to, in the inverted quotes you need to assign that. So with this specified character, all the values will get separated, right? So and then, so for example, A equal to some string is there. In this way, means we are assigning. How we can able to assign values to the variables? By using equal sign. Which value you are going to store in A now? A string, because hello is what? A text, right? So in Python, the text data type is created, or the text will be used in the Python by creating the string. Okay, so now it is a string data type. String data. In A, which data you have stored? String data. Here in A, which data you have stored? Integer. We are not specifying it explicitly. Interpreter will take care of the data type of the variables under runtime. So which is called as a dynamically typed programming. Okay. Under runtime, the data type of A will get decides with this data type string. So in Python, we have the name, means how strings will be represented with the name str. Str means string data. Int means integer data, right? So again we have like this float. Float means floating point number, and then we have complex. The names are as it is. Okay. Not only this, we have different data types also. We will discuss in the concept of data types. Okay. Now, but this is the string data we have stored in the variable A. So now, if you print, I wanted to print this message on the screen, right? How we can able to print this message on the screen? By using the variable A. Is there any need to keep this A in the quotes? Is there any need to keep this A in the quotes again? No, because A is already defined. For undefined data only, there is a need to keep the data in the quotes, right? So for example, so print, I want to print like this is a message, comma, A. Is it will get executed? No. Because this is not defined. This data is not defined. This text is not in the quotes. Interpreter cannot recognize this data. Only if you keep quotes, then it will be recognized. Right. By defaultly, we are printing what we are printing? Two values separated by comma. We are printing multiple values on the screen. How we can able to print multiple values on the screen? Separated by comma in the print function. But output, right? In the output, whenever there is comma, you will get a space by default. The default separator for the multiple values is space, right? So if you want to print as it is, if you want to get comma, what you need to do? You need to provide a value for the sep argument, right? So that is sep equal to, in the inverted quotes you use comma. Then you will get comma instead of space. Okay. So in this way you can able to print multiple values from the print statement, which is called as output function, right? So and then there are several formattings in which way we are going to print output on the screen. There are several formats, right? Which is called as output formatting. Okay. So then we will see output formatting. How to format the output in different ways. Output format. So which function we will use to print output on the screen? Print function, right? So by using print function only we can able to format the output. Okay. And then, so how many ways are there? Right. So first one, by specifying format specifier. Which is percentile operator, right? Or modulus we can say. Okay. By using a format specifier, we can able to format the output, which is percentile operator. And second one, by using dot format method. By using dot format method also we can able to format the output. And the third one is by using F strings. by using your strings we can able to format the output, right? Okay, first we will see how to use this format specifier, right? The same earlier case we have taken two variables with two values, right? I want to print the addition of these two values. Okay, so from the print statement you can see addition of percentage d and percentage d is percentage d. Addition of percentage d, this is, I will end the string here. So if you print directly this, for example, so after this also we have some thing to write. Okay, so if we end this particular print statement here itself, right? So directly whatever you have written inside of the codes, that thing will get prints on the screen. Means in the place of percent will get print, in the place of d will get print. But in the place of percent d, I want to pass 20. In the place of percent d, I want to pass which value? 30. And in the place of percent d, I want to pass a plus b. How we can able to do this? By using format specifier, which is percent. So now after this, just you specify percent. How many values you need to pass? In the 3 percent d places, 1, 2, here 3, right? So in the first percent d, we need to pass which variable? A. So you can directly specify value also, but already we have stored that value in the variable, right? We can specify variable a comma b comma, now a plus b. You can pass a plus b. Now a plus b will get evaluates and the result will be passed to this particular place. It means that we can able to print integer values from the string. Here we are accessing right, the values inside of the string. Actually inside of the string whatever you write it will print as it is, but from the string I want to get the values, I want to print the values. This is what called as a string formatting, right? Generally it is called as string formatting, we can say, or output formatting we can say generally. So in how many ways we can able to format the output? This is one way. If you want to access the values inside of the string, you can use the percentage operator. How many percentage d's are there in those particular places, these values will get appended. So in the first percentage d, a, in the second b, and in the third a plus b is going to get appended when this particular print statement is going to get executed. Okay, so this is the way how we can able to use the first way of formatting, output formatting. This is format specifier, by using format specifier. Not only integers, you can able to get, there is a format specifiers. Percentage d is for integer and percentage f for floating point number. And %s for string. Like this, so many format specifiers are there. You can able to check that. So here, if you use s, will you get that particular value here? No, because %s is to access string value inside of a string. So only if you use %d, then only you will get the correct value, right? And so we can able to means by defaultly in between the first value and this particular text one space, because you have specified only one space. We have given only one space here of space %. If you are not going to give the space, that particular number will appear or in continuation with the f. F tarvata embedi vachestadi 5 ani or what we have used 20. But here we have provided the space. After space, the number will get prints. But I don't want one space. I want to increase the number of spaces. Then you can able to use print addition of percent phi d and percent phi d is percent phi d, then percent a comma b comma a plus. So it means that now 5 spaces will add in front of the number. Okay. So a particular number ki mundu 5 spaces print of that. Right. So which is we can able to increase the space, that we can able to format the output depending upon the requirement of spaces you want to print in front of the values. So if 5 ante percent 5d ante d place lo em vastadi actually 20 vastadi. So 20 kanna mundu I want to print 5 spaces, then you can able to accomplish this that particular task by using this percent 5d. You can vary percent 2d, percent 3d, percent 40, percent 5d, right? So now the number of spaces will get added in front of the number. So which is output formatting by using percentage. And how to use the second method, dot format. The same thing we can able to print the output by using dot format method also. So now we will discuss dot format. Same thing, a comma b equal to 20 comma 30. Now addition of here we need to get 20, here we need to get 30, and here we need to get the result. So to use a dot format, so at which place you want to access a value, in that place just use curly brace. Open curly brace, close curly brace. Here you can able to access that particular value, and here also I need one value. After that close the string, right? And then use dot format. Here you need to pass the values in the function dot format. Okay. So how many values you need to pass? 3, right? So how many curly braces are there? Placeholders. We can say placeholders, right? So 3 placeholders are there in the string. In that particular places, I want to send data when this print statement is executed. Now you can pass a comma b comma a plus b. That's it, right? So now a will be placed in this placeholder, b will be placed in this placeholder, and a plus b, the result will be placed in this placeholder. Okay. And here the values whatever you are passing from this function, right, will have index numbers, means position numbers. Okay. So generally position numbers will start from 0, not from 1. So here how many values are there? 3. So the first value will have an index number of 0. The second value will have an index number of 1. The third value will have an index number of 2. So index number is nothing but a position number. So a is positioned at 0, b is positioned at 1, and a plus b is positioned at 2. Generally, if you are not going to specify the position numbers in the placeholders, as it is the sequence is going to get taken. And sequence as it is the 0, 1, 2. And in this placeholder, the index number will be 0. In this placeholder, the index number will be 1. In this placeholder, the index number will be 2. Right. So whenever it is like this, the output will be printed like this: addition of index number 0. At 0 index, which value is present? A, right? So what is the value of a that is stored? 20, right? So and b index number is 1, so b value is 30, and 2. At the second index, which value is present? A plus b. It will get evaluates, and the result will be is 50. So this will get fixed on the screen. Okay. So if I interchange the position numbers in the placeholders. Now here I'll keep 2, I'll keep 0 here, I'll keep 1. Now what will happen? In this case, where A will be placed, what is the index number? Index number of A? 0. So where 0 is represented? Here. Now A will be appended here, means A will be accessed at this place, because at this place which index is present? 0 index. Now, so one index is present here. What is the index number? One variable B, right? So now B will append here and A plus B will append here. But what will be the output now? So addition of, here you will get 50 and what is the value of A? 20, right? Addition of 50 and 20 is 30. It will print like this, but which is a wrong information, right? So whenever you are using dot format as a formatting option for the printing of output, you need to be concentrate on this positions also. Okay. In this way, you can able to use a dot format method to print multiple values. Okay. Here no need to use percentage. The previous one what we have discussed, it will use as format specifier for integer percentage d. To accept floating point number, it is percent f. Wherever there is a percent f, it will accept a floating point number at that particular place. But here, depending upon the placeholders, curly braces, wherever the curly brace is there the value is going to get append. So here is a curly brace. In this particular position, that value is going to get stored or not stored. That value is going to get append by printing it, right? So this is the second way of formatting the outputs, right?